This video is brought to you by Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is a digital-only retailer that provides official game keys at a huge discount across various gaming platforms. Click below for the link to their website or stick around to the end of the video to learn more. Nowadays, it is probably easier to find a game that is not well optimized versus finding one that is. So when a game comes out that not only runs well, but is a technical marvel, it is a magnificent achievement. Recently, one such game is Kingdom Come: Deliverance II. Not only is it critically acclaimed as a game, it is also a game that has mesmerized and impressed gamers from a technical perspective. The game looks beautiful and runs incredibly well. The development team behind the game, Warhorse Studios, obviously still had to optimize the game well on their end. However, it still says a lot about the engine itself. And with this being the case, many gamers have begun talking about this game's technology and engine, known as CryEngine. Comparing it to other game engines, there's obvious differences. For example, Unreal Engine 5 games have technical problems, while some other engines, like the RE engine, obviously wasn't designed for open-world games. CryEngine, by comparison, seems superior in many ways. Thus, many gamers are wondering why CryEngine is rarely used if the results are so impressive. Let's start off by discussing the pros and cons of CryEngine versus something like Unreal Engine, since it's very popular. CryEngine is great for open worlds and large-scale environments, as seen recently and in the past games that use it. More importantly, unlike some other engines, this engine is optimized very well for providing realistic graphics and great performance. Additionally, there is an integrated sandbox editor as well as source code access that can be helpful for developers. For Unreal Engine, on the other hand, its advantages are incredibly important. Though it has great visual fidelity, the true advantage of Unreal Engine is that it's incredibly user-friendly. There are a huge amount of tutorials everywhere for whatever you want to do in the engine, so developers have an easier time getting up to speed. Because of this, that is a huge reason why Unreal Engine 5 is adopted by a large amount of development teams across the industry. Thus, it's extremely popular. This all then leads to another huge advantage. It has a massive community. By having a vast community, it's easier to find answers to niche questions about the engine. Additionally, it has an enormous asset marketplace as a result. Devs can easily utilize the assets in this marketplace or even upload their own assets for other devs to use. Unreal Engine's advantages are extremely important because they are CryEngine's weaknesses. CryEngine is harder to learn, more complex, and has fewer tutorials. Because of this, it has a much smaller community, which then means less community support, as well as a much smaller asset marketplace to use. Unfortunately, these are key weaknesses within CryEngine that make it difficult for developers to adopt, and those weaknesses don't end here. According to others, Unreal Engine is far more artist-friendly than CryEngine. CryEngine is also advertised far less than other engines, and other competing engines have similar advantages against CryEngine, like Unity. Thus, it ultimately makes sense as to why CryEngine is not used much in the industry, which is incredibly unfortunate, as the biggest issue with Unreal Engine 5 right now is stability and optimization, something CryEngine can excel in. But if you're wondering how CryEngine got to this point that it's in, the history is quite interesting. CryEngine was developed by Crytek, a German game company, in 2002. Its first major game, Far Cry, released in 2004, followed by Crysis in 2007, which became a benchmark for computer performance. Crysis and later Crysis 2 sold over 3 million copies each, boosting Crytek and CryEngine's popularity. However, Crysis 3, which released in 2013, sold extremely poorly, barely breaking 200,000 copies sold. Meanwhile, Crytek's launch game for the Xbox One, Rise: Son of Rome, failed to meet its sales expectations as well. Following these setbacks, Crytek struggled financially and experienced massive layoffs in 2016. In 2018, they finally released their next game, Hunt Showdown. It sold over 6 million copies, though its player base has since declined. The company then pivoted to developing Crysis 4 after initially planning a battle royale game, but recently announced another round of layoffs, cutting 60 staff members off their team of 400. Despite Crytek's struggles after Crysis 3, other developers still used CryEngine for games like Prey, Evolve, and State of Decay. However, after 2017, few AAA studios chose to use CryEngine or even stick with that engine, with State of Decay 2 switching from CryEngine to Unreal Engine 4, and now using Unreal Engine 5 for State of Decay 3. This timeline provides invaluable insight into the current state of CryEngine. Unreal Engine 4 was announced alongside the PS4 and Xbox One generation, and it became popular due to its ease of use, extensive tutorials, and growing community, which made problem-solving easier for development teams both big and small. Not to mention Epic Games, the company behind Unreal Engine, became majorly successful during this time from the release of Fortnite, likely making it easier to advertise and invest in their own engine. Thus, the rise of Unreal Engine makes sense during this time of decline for Crytek and CryEngine. From 2013 to 2018, Crytek's decline hurt both its game development and its licensing business for its engine. Layoffs likely reduced resources for creating tutorials and supporting outside developers. Additionally, effective communication with developers likely became challenging because of Crytek's inner turmoil. So, if you are a game developer, why would you choose CryEngine during this time? It's a more complex engine to work on, and Crytek as a company may go bankrupt. Instead, simply choose Unreal Engine 4. It's got all the tutorials you would need, and many devs are already using it. Not to mention other engines like Unity were also more popular than CryEngine as well. Ultimately, there were so many other options to go with, thus it made sense that CryEngine was left behind. Now we have the current landscape because of all of this history. So many developers used Unreal Engine 4, and even more are using Unreal Engine 5 now. Unfortunately, there's an issue to this, and many are starting to see why. When an engine like Unreal Engine 5 is so popular but has many issues, there needs to be alternative engines developers can use. Outside of Unity or internal game engines, there really isn't much. Even then, teams like CD Projekt Red still abandoned their own internal engine to develop Witcher 4 on Unreal Engine 5. Now they're rumored to be paying the price for it because of Unreal Engine 5's technical issues. This all could have been avoided if they stuck with their internal engine. So, at this point, development teams should really try using other engines, like CryEngine, because it can potentially pay off in the long run in a huge way, as seen with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Right now, the future of CryEngine is uncertain, to say the least. Crytek continues to have financial problems, and they are not handling their engine licensing well. Right now, the community for CryEngine is much smaller compared to Unreal or Unity. But if more developers become interested and start using the engine, that would mean more support for developers in the CryEngine community. Even now, though relatively small, there are developers and individuals that use various versions of CryEngine, and some have kept mods up and running for a long time. So, there is a community that exists, and there is potential for it to grow. The more people using CryEngine, the better. It means more can be figured out about the engine and its potential. And honestly, looking at the current state of horrible optimization in the gaming space right now, I think it's about time developers start looking at other engines to use, because the Unreal Engine 5 tech and optimization problems are preposterous. Instant Gaming is a digital-only retailer that provides official game keys across various gaming platforms. By buying in bulk and being digital-only, Instant Gaming offers a wide range of games and products at a discount. This includes newer releases or upcoming games as well. They also offer monthly giveaways for a free game of your choice, so if you would like to visit their website or enter into the giveaway, go ahead and click the links down below. Thanks again to Instant Gaming for sponsoring the video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.